Just as Ryu Jiguang is contemplating his next move, a servant enters to announce the return of his mother, Yun Gehe. Upon hearing this, Ryu Jiguang is surprised and somewhat frustrated, asking whether his mother had gone out again. The servant confirms that she had, and specifically mentions that she returned on an 8-man palanquin. Immediately, Ryu Jiguang leaves his office to meet his mother. Upon finding her, he asks if she had visited the Shaolin Temple again, which seems to be a regular activity of hers. Yun Gehe greets her son with a smile, appearing somewhat nonchalant and expressing that she wasn't expecting him because he is so busy these days. Ryu Jiguang expresses deep concern for his mother, Yun Gehe, who has not been feeling well. He earnestly implores her to take care of herself and questions how she could have traveled such a distance while unwell. His tone is filled with worry as he genuinely cares for her well-being. Yun Gehe, who is revealed to be the elderly woman that Mujin helped earlier, reassures her son with a chuckle, telling him not to worry about her on this occasion. She reveals that she received treatment at the Shaolin Temple, which piques Ryu Jiguang's curiosity. When he inquires further, she describes the treatment she received, explaining that a monk performed a procedure she referred to as a massage. The monk rubbed her back, pressed on her knees, and rotated her feet at extraordinary angles. Yun Gehe is impressed by the treatment, claiming it was far more effective than any acupuncture or tonic she had previously tried. Ryu Jiguang remains skeptical, doubting that such a treatment could have been so impactful. However, as he observes his mother, he notices visible improvement in her condition. Her overall health seems better, and even the chronic trembling in her leg has diminished, leading him to reconsider his earlier doubts. Yun Gehe then mentions that the monk who performed the treatment was a remarkable child monk. Intrigued by the monk's skill, Ryu Jiguang decides he must meet him in person and insists that he will accompany his mother to the Shaolin Temple the following day. Back at the Shaolin Temple, Mujin sits alone in a quiet room, reflecting on the events of the day. Despite having helped the elderly woman earlier, he feels an uneasy tension, but not because she reminded him of his grandmother or because of her wealth. The source of his discomfort stems from something he noticed on the palanquin that the woman left on. The words written on it clearly stated Heavenly Merchants, a name that carries significant weight. Mujin's mind races as he recalls the reputation of the Heavenly Merchants. In his previous knowledge of another universe, referred to as Jie Qiang's universe, the Heavenly Merchants were one of the 5 wealthiest and most powerful factions in the unorthodox world. They were also known as a villainous organization that had clashed with the protagonist in a series called Unorthodox Tyrant Chronicles. The fact that this name appeared now, in this context, raises a troubling question for Mujin. Could this truly be the same Heavenly Merchants he remembers? The next day, Mujin continues his duties as a third-class disciple at the Shaolin Temple. At the gate, he encounters Ryu Jiguang and Yun Gehe, who have arrived as guests. With a polite bow, Mujin introduces himself, offering a humble greeting and expressing gratitude for their visit. Yun Gehe responds with a warm smile, commenting to her son, Ryu Jiguang, on how charming she finds Mujin. Ryu Jiguang acknowledges Mujin's words and mentions that he has heard about the treatment Mujin gave his mother the previous day. Mujin quickly downplays it, clarifying that it wasn't a formal treatment, but rather a simple act of spending time with her. He then greets Yun Gehe, teasing her about her return. Yun Gehe laughs and explains that she came back to offer prayers again and to receive another massage, which Mujin corrects with a smile, informing her that the term is actually massage. As they walk toward the prayer site, Yun Gehe, continuing the lighthearted conversation, suggests that if Mujin weren't a monk, she would introduce him to her granddaughter. She catches herself and apologizes for rambling, but Mujin responds kindly, expressing that he would love for her to visit often so they could offer prayers and recite scriptures together. Yun Gehe beams at his response, calling him a sweet boy. Ryu Jiguang watches the exchange between his mother and Mujin with a sense of resignation. He notes that his mother is far more affectionate with Mujin than with her own grandchildren, but he inwardly accepts it, prioritizing his mother's happiness over any concerns about her behavior. While walking with Ryu Jiguang and Yun Gehe, Mujin discreetly glances at Ryu Jiguang, recognizing him as the leader of the Heavenly Merchants, a powerful and influential group in the unorthodox world. Although Ryu Jiguang is still the current leader, Mujin wonders if this is the same person he remembers from a previous universe, as he associates the Heavenly Merchants with criminal activities such as illegal drug trade and human trafficking. Despite these dark associations, Mujin recalls that the Heavenly Merchants also had ties to unorthodox forces, and he considers the possibility that the organization had not yet fallen fully into corruption at this point in time. He resolves to observe Ryu Jiguang more closely to understand how the heavenly merchants became involved in darker dealings. As Mujin continues his observations, Ryu Jiguang notices him staring and, feeling puzzled, asks if there is something on his face. Mujin quickly denies this and instead comments on Ryu Jiguang's posture, remarking that he seems like someone who spends